Welcome to Only One United, hopefully close to 7 o'clock. It is Andy here, joined with Maisie and Atanu. How you doing, guys?
Very well, thank you. How are you, Andy?
Not too bad, not too bad. Got a bit of a surprise there because it was a slightly different video than I was expecting, but it's all good. It's all good. We'll just slide into the weekend. It's always a learning experience. Atanu, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. First time on this channel, and hopefully the first of many.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I'll do your report card at the end, so we'll be it'll be fine. It'll be cool. So yeah, finally it's Friday, and we've got a game tomorrow against Reading, which for certain members of the fan base brings back certain memories that we might get into. But Maisie, I just thought obviously I'll start with you. Reading away. What do those words mean to you?
It means, for me, just as the thumbnail says, physical. It means physical because, yeah, I actually do consider for me that Reading is the most physical team in the WSL. And knowing that we have got, of course, people out already, we need to be coming into this game extremely careful in one way, just because we're missing out on players such as Hayley Ladd. I've got a couple of injuries of Lucy Stanner compared to the start of the season as well. So we need to be extremely careful coming into this, and we need to try and try and sustain little injuries as possible.
Like Skinner, he needs a word he misses. Win.
Yes. Well, of course we need to win. We need the 3 points because if you look at last season, I actually feel like that Reading win was the one what stopped us actually from getting into the Champions League last season. So, because just as last season, many injuries. So, we need to get this game 3 points, do the double over Reading, and then look forward into the next coming games because realistically, for the rest of the season, the games aren't particularly that hard. It's just Chelsea at the end. And apart from that, I don't really see that many as a big threat.
Well, I suppose that's if they're still there in May, but that might be a different podcast. Yeah, so obviously Vix has put in the comments there, wish Hayley Ladd was fit. Is that your feelings, Atanu, as well?
Yeah, I think I do agree that this is a game where we need physicality a lot. Correct me if I'm wrong, but last season in the second game against Reading, we lost, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that it's just giving me the PTSD because injuries again, injury crisis. Yes, we have a better depth right now, but the injury concern is very concerning. Yeah, Hayley Ladd is a big miss. Aoife Mannion is a big miss. I was hoping when we signed Jade Moore, please correct my pronunciation of Jade Moore, please. More.
Just more. Okay. Think of more. That might be a little tweet, a little excerpt of what the song's going to be, but more.
Yeah, but I think when we signed Jade Moore, I thought that when Hayley Ladd wasn't available, she might come in, and I get that she's just recovering from injuries, but how unlucky are we that we are getting the injuries in those places where we have very minimal depth, be it the CDM position, be it the centre back positions. So hopefully 3 points. I know last time we defeated them. Kirsty Hansen and Ona Bhatia were on the score sheet, and I would love to see them again, especially Kirsty Hansen. Please start Kirsty Hansen. I think it's time that we see Kirsty Hansen back in the starting 11.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got a chance for Kirsty to start, just as you say, because we've had a lot of injuries. But what I would also say as well is that at the end of the day, the issue we've got to have as well is that is it bad luck, or is it the fact we've got a very thin squad and we've known this since September? I mean, obviously, Jade Moore heard great things. Professor of the Dark Arts, apparently. You know that in relation to Reading. They're very physical. I've always confirmed them in the past of having like sort of 11 Roy Keanes on the pitch. Roy Keane, after he's a bit hungry in a derby, is kind of what I think would be the best analogy there. But should we really be signing people, Maisie, who aren't fit? That's the only thing.
No,
Because
we can't be starting people who aren't fit, can we?
not
Really?
start, I mean signing
Oh.
them, because we signed her, didn't we? And
Yes,
I
we
do
did.
wonder if that's going to come back to bite us on the proverbial at some point.
To be honest, no, we shouldn't really have signed people who aren't fully fit. Of course, when you do sign for clubs, you should be doing your medical. You should, before they actually sign for clubs. So if that medical's shown that she is lacking match fitness, we shouldn't have signed her. And that is just as simple as that. Because when you have got a club who our squad is pretty thin compared to all the other teams in the WSL, and knowing that at the time we didn't know Hayley Ladd was going to be out realistically, so we needed her to be ready for if, for example, Hayley Ladd was going to be out. And we always know that Hayley Ladd can pick up an injury now and again. She hasn't. She actually has played quite a lot of games since, of course, the Brighton game. So we couldn't afford to keep her playing her and think, oh, she's not going to pick up any injuries. So if it did obviously show, which it clearly did, she was lacking match fitness. Manchester United, as much as Matt Skinner loves her, she had him at Birmingham, she had him at Orlando. So could have said, right, Jade, I understand that you want to be at the club, but you are lacking areas here in terms of your fitness where we can't sign you because we need you to be ready now. Build up your fitness, come back to us in the summer, and then we'll look at a 6 month, we'll look at a year's deal then. That's what Manchester United should have ideally done, and then potentially try to look at another a CDM.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if she comes back in a couple of weeks and starts banging them in, I'm going to be singing a name. I'm not criticizing. It was just a question, isn't it? When you're in this situation, you just wonder, was there anybody there that possibly that could have been there that was ready to hit the ground running? Obviously, just picking up some of the comments. Thanks for everyone subscribing and obviously coming in the comments. TJ Trex here. Was Jade out of football at the time of signing? As far as I'm aware, she was signed to Orlando Pride, which is obviously Skinner's last holiday team that he was at. But I don't know whether or not it was all but named, because obviously the NWSL has a different season in relation to the WSL. Roughly end of March, beginning of April to about October, November. Whereas obviously we're looking at end of August, beginning of September to May. Some players are signed but not really signed, if that makes sense, in the NWSL. But that's definitely a good question there. Appreciate that, TJ. And there's another one here as well that caught my eye. Can
I answer to the question that TJ asked? I think I read that in 2021 NWSL Challenge Cup, which is basically like the friendly cup. I think she injured her knee, and ever since she hasn't played. I'm talking about Jade Moore. So more. Sorry. It's
You'll get me
difficult.
singing again, and that's not what anybody wants. We'll see our subscribers just go through. I can get away with it at football.
I haven't tweeted my throat yet to start singing.
You all remember what happened the last time you came on my channel, so
I do. My counselling bill is in the post.
Yeah, but she's been injured ever since, and I think that's why we have signed her on an 18-month contract, because I think everybody knew that she would miss around 10 games at least when she was signed. So yeah, I do agree that if we could have signed her in the summer and we could have signed someone else for a 6-month deal, that would have been better. But it is what it is. I think it's a good signing at the end of the day. She brings in something unique, the professor of dark arts. So I'm fine with the injury crisis, because whosoever would have come in, they would have also been injured, because that's the curse.
That's basically memeable, isn't it? I'm fine with the injury crisis. It's okay. It'll work out fine.
No, after last season, I'm like, okay, nobody can hurt me anymore.
Lanzel here, great to see you, my friend. Again, we need to be for a physical battle, most definitely. Maisie, out of the people who probably will be fit, where do you think that physical battle is going to be brought from on the United side?
When I'm looking at the Manchester United and midfield in particular, I can't really name a standout player who's quite physical, I must be honest. But in terms of the centre-backs, Diane is quite physical, so Diane would be a shout for me. I'm just wishing we still had Mannion, because she would have been another good option to play against Reading. A Diane and Mannion partnership would have worked extremely well. And I think this could be actually a good shout for Kirsty Smith to play as well.
Because I think she's out as well.
Is she out as well? Oh, wow.
We'll just take Atanu's. We're okay with the injury crisis. It'll be fine.
I was hoping that she wasn't injured because I think
I'm sure Skinner was as well.
Yeah, I think she would have been a better option to use because she is more defensive than she is attacking minded, and I think we need to look in terms of defensive minded because she is physical in that respect. But when you look at the midfield and attack, there isn't really no one in particular who stands out as physical. I know Russo is a lot more stronger on the ball, so maybe she could be very well effective, and perhaps maybe she could be a good idea to actually be used up front so she could be shown, I am the centre forward here, and there is enough, I'm not going to be messed with, because you need that kind of, how could I say, that kind of centre forward who will be a bit of a, you're not getting past me kind of thing.
Yeah, I think with Russo you can get that. I mean, there's a few times, especially earlier in the season, where you've almost see her almost go, oh God, you guys not doing it properly, I have to do it myself. Ugh. And then she just takes the team and scores. You know, and I do worry about having her on the wing. She's not a winger. People are wingers. She's not a winger. I see it more as a number 9. I know that's a bit of a debate, and I think we need people to basically play in the positions that they're meant to play in. It sounds very simple, really. It's almost one more difficulty above. We need to score more than the other people, but essentially, sometimes football can be, overcomplicated a little bit. I mean, obviously, people might notice tonight in a different place in HQ at the minute because, the kickoff tomorrow is 11:30 in the morning. So you should love it, Atanu, in India. Did you write to the FA? Did you say, give me an easier? Is that what it is?
I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming.
Well,
but, to be fair, I'm now a UK citizen now, so I'm accustomed to the kickoffs around 6-7 p.m. of my time. But when this fixture came out, the timing came out, I was a bit shocked that 11:30 a.m. on a Saturday away game. Even if it was the Reading fans, we would have felt bad because they are making the trip at 11:30 a.m. So I think it's just not right. I would have taken a late kickoff as well because it's a weekend, but it is what it is. I'm fine with it. Like, I'm fine with the injury crisis.
Says the guy who gets to go out of his bed and roll over and watch his laptop. So I know, I'm joking, but yeah, I mean, so we're leaving Manchester at 6 a.m. tomorrow, and obviously, if people aren't aware, the Manchester United Supporters Club, give them a follow as well. They're sort of one of the match day sort of groups, and they do like essentially coaches or minibuses depending on interest to the aways. And it can be a different experience. There's nothing like, especially at different times of the year, freezing at 6 a.m. looking like you're doing something nefarious, waiting for a bus to arrive. It's always good fun. But no, it's a great way to meet people, and it's a great way if you are UK based and in Manchester just to get out there. Really, we've all been to our first games, and we've all done that, and it can be a good laugh. But the reason I mentioned 11:30 is I know. It just doesn't feel right, does it, Maisie? I mean, they were kicking off in the morning, but do you think that the players will struggle to adapt to that? They get used to building up to a certain time, being, no one's really used to playing at 11:30 or playing in the morning.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you mean in terms of that 11:30 kickoff, but as a footballer, you need to learn to adapt to these kind of times because you look at the pre-season, some pre-seasons are in different countries, so you can see in America sometimes there is that pre-season, you see it in Europe, so there are always going to be different time zones, just as the international stars at Manchester United, if they are going to be playing abroad in their kind of team, in their countries. We know like Jackie plays 1 hour ahead. We know of course, there is other players in particular, like Boris, Maria, who also has that a couple of hours ahead as well. So these players, they should know how to adapt to the different times. But of course, we have been used to early kickoffs anyway, because we've been playing 12, half 12, near enough every single game as it is. So hopefully it shouldn't make too much of an impact. But knowing that, of course, they have adapted to pre-season times and they've adapted to international times as well, they should be absolutely fine, and this shouldn't be too much of a struggle if there is any.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I think we'll wake them up anyway. I think we will get onto the devs later. Hence, it was a result of the fans poll that we did. That obviously we will just discuss the devs and whether or not anybody we feel is ready to break through to graduate, so to speak. Vic's again there about the interview, saying Skinner was talking about some of the players eating pasta for breakfast. I'd be quite happy to. Quite happy to eat Reading for breakfast personally, but no, that's all good, I think. And yeah, I think there was another funny comment here. I'd say keep them coming, guys. We really want, as we've always said, you guys to interact with us as much as we can. You're our fourth panelist, as if like for tonight when we've got 3. Here we go. This is definitely true. Again from Vix. Leaving Old Trafford at 6 a.m. You will see the zombies on TV. Depends on how many coffees I can get beforehand. You might just see a really anxious person just staring in the screen. Anyway, Atanu, I'm sure you know what that's like with, as you say, some of the early starts with India. But as I say, I think we also had another comment from, if I can find it here, from Karen, who was saying about we need a good start and a fast start. In the past, we've been second half at FC Atanu. So apart from my blood pressure, do you think Skinner can see the problem with that? First half is better, isn't it? Shock them.
I think it's always better when we score early and keep what do you say, constantly keeping the same momentum throughout the game. But the issue is Reading are a very physical side, and I do agree.
I mentioned that a few times.
I need to mention it because getting it out of my system just before
you listed out the physical.
Yeah. But I think we do have the players. It's all about the right selection. I know that we lack the depth, and I know that we aren't at our best right now. We did have a good last game, but the February month was dreadful, and I just want to forget it. There's this movie Men in Black, and there's this device that they have for getting it.
Yeah.
I desperately need that because the trauma, like next year in February 2023, I would be remembering February 2022 and thinking, please don't let that happen again. 2 Manchester derbies.
See, the problem is that's flippable. So in 12 months' time, we can go, Atanu, you said this in March 2022. If it goes the other way, but hopefully you're right there.
Yeah, but I think, like I said, it's all about the team selection. It's all about making the right substitutions. In the last game, we saw Mark make the right substitutions, and that is why we won. So I'll say that Kirsty Hansen has to start just because Bruno isn't there. So I'd like to see Russo as the 9. And in the last game as well, we saw that her goal came when she was playing from the center and Martha Thomas shifted to the right wing. So I think start Russo from the center, Tooney as the number 10, so that there's the famous Russo Tooney link up, so that the fans can sing the famous chant.
Not singing it. You can though. The floor is yours.
No.
It's Atanu's time to sing.
The X Factor aren't available today, so I won't be singing.
It's the night.
But yeah, I think, like I said, play from the wings because I think stretching Reading's defense will help the likes of Tooney and Russo get into the box and score those goals. So hopefully Leah Golden starts, Kirsty Hansen starts, and Russo starts. That's my front 3, and that's how we can easily dismantle that Reading side.
Yeah, easily dismantle. That's what I like. That's the thing. I think I've said before, if we can shock them, and we can be 1-0 ahead very quickly. We can be 2-0 ahead, and with a team like that, they do one or two things. They either crumble or they just get their studs out, and then it just becomes one of those situations of having to avoid 2-footed tackles for the next 70 minutes. It sounds like I watched them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It sounds like that before as well. Obviously, TJ here has also added and get lots of corners. Yeah, that was one of the maybe just one of the quick points on that, Maisie, because obviously we were both there on Sunday when we played Leicester. How bizarre was that? I mean, it's one of those where remember the things on Sky over here, you'd have the sort of 100 weirdest football moments that, if you wouldn't know. That's going to get shown in the future, isn't it? Two goals from a corner. How strange was that?
It was absolutely brilliant, to be honest. And it's not something what you do see every day, a player who's taking the corner, scoring from the corner. And I seen it at the Man City game, and even I was in disbelief thinking it was Katie Zelem who actually scored it. I thought it was Diane, thinking, yes, Diane's got a debut, a first goal there for Manchester United. I was happy because I absolutely love Diane. And then when I heard Katie Zelem, I was like, what? How did Katie Zelem do it? I was baffled. Like, man, thinking, how did Katie Zelem do it? Can someone please tell me? And when I watched it, it was brilliant. And of course, I watched it on the FA player.
My condolences.
Well, I managed to still see it live from Manchester City, despite, of course, the loss. But Katie Zelem, that kind of technique is a technique that you don't see every day, and them kind of qualities is what you do need, especially when you are playing these kind of teams. Like, it could potentially work at the likes of the Arsenals, who hasn't really got the taller defenses. Would it work for Chelsea? Not 100%, just because of how Millie Bright's height, for one. So I'm a bit 50-50 on that, but it could work for Arsenal. I think it could work for Arsenal, and I'd be excited to see another corner goal against Reading, because I do believe that it can be another goal for Reading. This time I want to see a hat-trick of corners.
It was strange, Atanu. I don't know if you could hear it on TV, but we were actually chanting for corners and jokingly calling for it, even when it was a throw-in or it was miles away from a corner. It was quite an interesting atmosphere. We got a little bit giddy, really, to be honest. That was the thing. But I mean, for me, I think it's all about throwing off the other opposition. I mean, it's I may or may not have been known in the past to shout. I mean, quietly suggest to Skinner from a distance, Skinner, earn your money, when it wasn't going particularly according to plan. But I think.
What do you mean past? What do you mean past?
as in a couple of games ago. But no, I mean, I think that is kind of the thing, isn't it? Because I mean, teams practice. We're all professional teams now. But when you can throw something in there that isn't expected, every time Katie Zelem takes a corner now, most teams, at least initially, are going to have to try and put someone on the back post. Whereas previously, they might look at a zonal system, or they might look at trying to keep in front of them, so they can either let the goal in, or by protecting that line, they're going to open up people in the box that should be free, that give them a chance to capitalize. And I think that's the kind of things that we miss. That's the kind of things that I think Skinner needs to pin down. The bits that sort of add value. I think, was it against? I'm testing my memory here. Was it against Spurs where their keeper came up, where before they scored the equaliser, which is very rare in the women's game, and I think it was just enough to distract the defence, so the line wasn't set properly, which is one of the reasons why it went in. So I'd like to see a bit more. I suppose you'd say in NFL, like special teams, a bit more trick plays like that. What about you, Atanu?
Yeah, definitely. I think I don't exactly remember whether it was the Spurs game or not, but yes, there was a game when the opposition goalkeeper came into the box. Hopefully not the Spurs result this time. Hopefully not the Spurs result conceding in the last minute. But yeah, after that City corner goal, I was like, yes, she has something in her. And after seeing those two goals again, I mean, 3 goals in 2 games from corners, Matt, I mean, you can't say anything. I was speechless. I was like, I had traveled for 5-6 hours, and I sat and I was like, okay, we'll win this game. Let's watch it. And those goals. Why did we ever criticize Katie Zelem first of all?
Whoa, don't go too far. No, don't go too far. No, yeah. I mean,
yeah, just kidding. But yeah, I think Caroline Weir, if someone doesn't know, in 2020 and in 2020, I think it was 2021, she was nominated for the Puskas Award, FIFA Puskas Award, for her goals against Manchester United. So this time around, I think it will be Katie Zelem. Even Caroline Weir, but I think Katie Zelem will win this time.
Yeah, that's another bad City. But no, I know it's important. Ravi here again, good point here. Our set piece is United's strong point. Well, obviously we've just spoken about corners. Free kicks. I mean, I've always think they lack a bit of power from Katie. You know, I'd like to get some more opportunities. You know, to spread it around a bit. Well, I said in the last show that we did, when we were previewing Leicester, that I like to see other players score apart from strikers, and obviously that happened a little bit as well. I mean, do you think we could get another honor goal tomorrow, Maisie?
I'd absolutely love for Honor to score. Every time Honor scores, there always seem to be screamers what we actually want to see. Like, you look at the Reading one where she, of course, helped us get that win, and it was an absolute screamer. I know we was already 1-0 up anyway, but it just helps in terms of that cushion. So you look at things like that and you think she does help us massively. And another one, Man City in the Conti Cup, that 2-1, she managed to win the ball. A little bit scuffy, but I don't care against our rival. I really don't. But it was a brilliant goal from Honor, and I'd love to see Honor get another goal, because she even can be quite physical when you need her to be physical too.
Yeah,
we have seen it where she can have that little bit of aggression towards her, and she's only quite young as well. And you sometimes you don't, when you look at Honor, you think, oh, she's so cute. You just want to hug her, and then you can see that little bit of an anger towards her at times, and you look at it, yes, go on, Honor, come on, girl, you do this.
I think the word you're looking for is a fiery Catalan, which is exactly what she is.
A fiery queen, that's what we say.
Yeah, but you know, obviously from Catalonia. Unfortunately, you know, where they live and breathe Barca, but we're trying to keep her as long as we can. You know, fantastic player. You know, I think maybe a surprise to some United fans when she came over, because she didn't have much time from Levante when she first came over. But I think she's coming into her own, really, and I think she's a fan favourite. I've got my home shirt on tonight, which is I've got Leah on the back, but the one that I have, which is the same as Maisie's, that's Honor Badge. And
you
if
don't
you
want
can
to know
get
who's
me,
on the back of this one.
what you even asked, but okay.
You won't want to know.
I've got to ask now. You got to give the viewers what they want. What? Who's on the back? Is it a men's player?
It is a men's player, and just think about the worst player.
Depending on what people have told me about the men's.
Go on, Atanu. Who's the worst player at United?
In the men's. What?
7?
Number 7, he says?
No.
No, not saying that he's the worst player. I'm just saying that he's in a very bad form. Don't come after me, guys. Don't come after me.
Oh, you mean Ronaldo?
Even worse than the form of CR7.
Oof. Is it someone who's still playing?
Yes.
Oof. I don't know. Pogba?
Come on, Maisie. Maguire.
Hey, first a minute. He's not a bad player. I also have a jersey of Maguire. I really like him. Please, that's really personal. That's really personal. That's really
you triggered Atanu now.
I'm very hurt. I'm very hurt right now. But yeah, I think
I got it, and then he turned in poor form this season.
Even I think that. And I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have bought that. But Maisie, please don't say that. He's a very good player.
You're only saying that because he's on the back of your shirt.
But I like him.
Hi to Emma here as well, who's suggesting Fred. Again, you might get that as an alternative. Isn't he the guy who always gets subbed on? He never plays to start. Even I know that. Or does he occasionally get a start?
He gets a lot of games, Fred. The one who gets subbed on is Donna. He gets subbed on a lot. He doesn't start.
Might be relegated this season, unfortunately.
Well, as I say, we are only one United, so we'll deal with men, women, devs, academy, and all that. And as we mentioned, obviously, and thanks to everyone for voting, because that's what we wanted to do. We say you are fourth panelist tonight, and by quite a large margin. I mean, over 60% of people who voted said devs time to graduate. So let's look at that. Obviously, I think we all watched the FA Youth Cup that was on Wednesday, and we saw this thing called. Oh, it's been a while. I don't remember what it's called. Oh, attacking football with pace. It sounds good, doesn't it?
Who knew?
No, obviously. Is there any Atanu? You wrote an article profiling some of the devs. We'll put it on our Twitter shortly. Is there anybody immediately that comes to mind, both from your knowledge of the game on Wednesday and generally, who you think might be able to help with that injury crisis that you're so chilled out about?
Yeah, I don't know if the viewers remember, but during the initial few minutes of this show, Maisie's mentioned Kirsty Smith and how she wanted her to start. Even I wanted Kirsty Smith to start this game, but she's unavailable. But don't worry, guys. I am very fine with the injury crisis. But we do have a player like Neve Murphy in our ranks. If someone watched the Devs game on Wednesday, it was, I think, on Wednesday, you could have seen Neve Murphy was, you cannot find the right adjective because any word you use would be an understatement. She was so good. I mean, it's hard to describe how well she played, but she played on the right back as the right back alongside Alicia Ahern, who was playing the right winger. Alicia Ahern got the 2 goals and was voted the player of the match, and well deserved. But if someone had to ask me who was my player of the match, I would have said Neve Murphy. Even Murphy has been involved in the matchday squad as well. Again in December against the likes of Everton in the Conti Cup and Aston Villa in the league. So she does have the match day experience, and I would love to see her having some game time with the senior team. Another player that comes to mind is Rebecca May. She's known to play the role of a CDM, but in the final, there's this player called Ella Kinzet who played as the CDM. So Rebecca May got opportunity to play higher up the pitch, and you could see something unique in Rebecca May. I don't like to draw comparisons, but it felt like, yeah, but I will. For someone who knows about the men's team, there's this player called Bruno Fernandes, if you've ever heard of him. So Rebecca May, even though she's a CDM, you could see her, you know, the one thing that comes to mind when I saw Rebecca May play on Wednesday it was her unpredictability. The opposition couldn't predict from where she would control the ball, from where she would attack, and one of the goals that she scored from, I think it was from outside the box, such a beautiful goal. And I've heard from Natalie, who regularly goes to the games, that she regularly scores these goals, so it wasn't much of a big deal to her. But Rebecca May is another player that comes to mind. So if by chance Mark Skinner thinks that there's no CDM and he wants to tweak some things, I think Rebecca May should come in. And if I'm not wrong, she's already made her first team debut in 2019. So that wouldn't be an issue. And I've heard that the devs regularly train with the first team every once in a while. So that won't be an issue. So these two players come to my mind. There are very good attackers in the team as well, but right now we in the senior team only we have very good attackers. So just for the match day experience, I would love to see every devs player on the bench, but these two players, I think
it's not a school trip, Atanu, but I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
But yeah, I mean, these two players, I think they are ready for the first team, and they should be making the transition into the first team permanently next season, like we saw Tara Bone and Carrie Jones do this season.
No, definitely. Obviously, Karen here again today. Say was lucky enough to go along to watch the Devs on Wednesday evening. I was so impressed. Wonderful attacking play. So just sticking briefly with Neve Murphy, one of the things obviously that as a right back, Hannah Blundell gives is the ability to run forward. Does she have an attacking element to her game as well, as far as what you've seen?
Yeah, I think her link up with the wingers, drifting towards the center and helping the midfielders. I think there are various elements to her game. It all depends of how eventually when she comes into the first team, how eventually Mark Skinner and the backroom staff uh, provide her the roles to play. But I think based on what I've seen her under the Charlotte Healy's system, and I'm just giving my opinion after just one game because this was the first game that was telecasted for the international Reds. So it was a really surreal moment for me because I've been following the under 21s from a distance virtually through from whatever I've been told from fans who visit the stadiums and the grounds. So hopefully we'll see Neve Murphy, and I think just to talk about Neve Murphy in terms of the senior team players we have right now. uh, Hannah Blundell's crossing, Ona Bhattia's intensity, Jackie Grunen and Vilde Borisa's work rate while defending. So I'm hyping up her a lot, but she deserves this praise because she has played really, really well in the final.
Yeah, Maisie, turning to you then. Some devs on the bench. Anybody again you think might be an option for us?
There's a few players who I think is absolutely brilliant in the depths, and a couple did stand out for me. Murphy, just as we have touched on, and Murphy, for me, what I did watch, she is how people describe modern day fullback in the respect of she can go forward and she can defend very well. And so with fullbacks, they can either be one or the other. They're either better at defending or they're better at going forward. There isn't one what can always do the both. And knowing that Murphy can do the both, it just shows to me that she is a natural kind of player. She is one of them kind of players that we need in the squad because I obviously like Hannah Blundell. I honour her, but for me, it feels like Anna can do a little bit of both. Whereas I feel like with Hannah, she is a lot more of a going forward kind of fullback than she is more of an offensive type of fullback. And then some games where we do feel like we need that little bit of both for the top three is that we need that kind of fullback like Murphy. I'm not saying throw her in for them games, but I mean, like, we do need that type of fullback, and it'd be good to try and break her into it quite early on if that's going to be at the start of next season for a cup games, or if that's going to be near to the end of next season, just because we have got quite a relatively good run at this moment in time. Another one, Edwards. I think she is brilliant. I think she's a natural goal scorer as well. We have seen how many goals she has scored so far this season, and it's brilliant. Yes, we have stacked up now in terms of the attacking play, but we've only got, of course, Brun until the end of the season, so we're still going to be missing out on a striker when it comes to the start of next season, depending on what Brun's going to do. We all know that Martha Thomas can be quite injury prone, so really that does leave for Russo to play up front again, all on her own again, and we can't really rely on that same person over and over again, because if you're playing that same player for a full 90 every single game, for instance, they are going to pick up injuries, and it can be quite low-term injuries. So we need that kind of a player like Edwards for me, even kind of Solskjaer, who for me would be able to come off the bench and be able to produce something, or even just change the play just so we can still be quite free flowing. I see Chloe in the chat there has also mentioned about Poppy Lawson, and we haven't really touched much about her. But what I've seen about Poppy Lawson, what I did really like is that she did display such leadership roles. And when you are in the academy, it is always hard to display that kind of leadership, because you're at that process in a way that you want to be in the first team, and you kind of want as well. You're maturing to the game. And you're trying to mature to get into the first team, and to be able to mature to the game plus display leadership roles like the way Poppy Lawson has done for me. She came across as quite fiery as well, which I do quite like to see. So she will be another great option for a future investment there for Manchester United. If, for example, we are wanting a leader there on the pitch, for example, Katie Zelem did pick up any injuries, for instance.
Yeah,
we've got a leader there.
That's what people say, isn't it, about having multiple players on the pitch that are leaders. Obviously, again, I had a comment here from Vix. If Martha Harris leaves in the summer, I'll do it. If Martha Harris leaves in the summer, Murphy can take a spot in a squad, I think. But no, I mean, all joking aside, Atanu, and obviously making come back on this as well, we've got a lot of great devs. I mean, it's clearly been shown. But devs can age out if we're not careful, and there are some that are 2021. We're going to lose a few of them if we're not careful, aren't we?
I think it all depends on. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody wants to make it to the senior team at Manchester United. That's the dream. But unfortunately, not everyone can make it. As much as I am in awe of every player who played in the final, I think a lot of them are very mature, and they do deserve regular game time at a senior level, whether it will be at Manchester United or any other club on loan. So I think it's time that, with regards to Maria Edwards, she's been performing really well since the last 2 seasons. Last season, she was at Blackburn Rovers and was voted their young player of the season. So I think I expected Maria Edwards to go out on another loan. Yes, I'm very happy that she won the final, and it's really proud. It's a really proud moment that she's won a cup at her favorite club, at a club that she supported from her childhood. Because I think before moving to Manchester City, she was at Manchester United, and then she's again joined Manchester United. Something like what Charlie McNeil with the men's academy did. So I think Maria Edwards deserves some senior level game time, so that's the main reason why I would say that she deserves to go out on loan at a championship club, or even at a WSL club. Why not? There are many clubs that would do very good with Maria Edwards in their ranks. With regards to Karna Solskjaer, again, I would love to see her go out on a loan, and that doesn't mean that they aren't good enough to be at Manchester United senior team. It's just that we need to give them some senior level game time, regular game time, because even if they are in our, what I'm saying is that even if they are at Manchester United training day in and day out, like Carrie Jones does, but they don't get proper game time. And I would love to see Carrie Jones as well get regular game time. Yes, there are squad players, but these are the kind of players who deserve to get regular game time. I keep on saying this, deserve to get regular game time, because they've put in some great performances this season in the league, in the Academy League Cup final, and in the training as well, I've heard. So yeah, we have to be careful enough, because if it's going nowhere for a player, they would obviously want to leave. So as of now, I think everybody is very content. That's what I've heard, and I'm not some insider info. I have nothing, but I think everybody is happy at Manchester United right now, especially after winning the League Cup final. And Charlotte Healy's an amazing coach. The backroom staff of Charlotte Healy is very amazing. So I think nobody has anything to complain. It's just that I would love, like this season, we saw Neve Murphy in the matchday squad, Safia Middleton Patel in the matchday squad. We saw Karna Solskjaer make her debut. So we saw three devs getting some exposure to the senior team, senior level. I would love to see more. Unfortunately, the draws that take place are often against the likes of Manchester City, Chelsea, Arsenal.
No, really?
Yeah,
No,
you don't know. Oh,
no, we haven't played City 10 times in 100 games, have we? Is that right? we have. That was one of the stats that I saw in the.
So
in
a
the-
tenth of our
You
games have been
you were
against Man
trying.
City. Wow.
Andy was trying to boast his statistical knowledge that he
Oh,
just
my
did.
statistical knowledge is
Yeah.
not that good at all, to be honest. I don't know where that came from. I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's like why exactly I mentioned this point is because last season I think we were drawn against Burnley in the FA Cup, and that's when we saw Carrie Jones or Tara. I think it was Tara Boone who made her debut.
Yeah.
So something similar. Hopefully, in the next season when we do have UWCL football, we might give some more game time to the devs. Uh, with regards to sorry, I'm talking so much. This is
Right.
just the last point, but I think Maisie
We've
did
unleashed
raise.
Atanu on Only One United. If you want to hear more of Atanu, you can see him on our channel. The man is unshackled and unleashed. Continue.
But Maisie mentioned a very good point that Brune may or may not sign another contract, and she might be leaving though because as of now she has a 6 month contract. So it would be good if we actually start with the transition of a devs player into the senior team from now on, because it takes time. You can't expect a devs player to start preseason training with the senior team and then train with them day in and day out and then just thrown onto the pitch. I think it's really important that they be a part of this journey of United trying to get UWCL football. And when they do eventually get it, that will be a huge morale booster. That will be a huge learning moment for them, because they'll be like, yes, I was a part of the team of the United team that first qualified for the UWCL football. So that will be a really huge moment. And they would also say that we won a trophy for Manchester United after a very long time, because I think the last trophy for United was when
Championship.
as a club I think it was the championship, and after that I don't think yeah, it was the championship trophy. Not even the men's won anything after that. So it will be a really huge moment for them. So that's the main reason I would want some of the devs player to start their transition into the first team, so that come the next season they're all ready.
Oh, you're very passionate about this, aren't you, Tony? No, it is great to see, and I agree a lot of the points. I think youth is always as a youth courage success is what's on the back of these new shirts this year, and I think there's a lot of truth in that. You could argue that the last two words maybe have been missed by certain teams at different times, but definitely youth is in the DNA of United. Again, there's a great comment here. That states need to get a system in place, Maisie, to manage the leap from devs to the first team. How would you do that if you were Charlotte Healy and Mark Skinner? Apart from telling Mark in no uncertain terms, play some of my players.
Yeah, compared to the men's team and of course the women's team, there's a lot less youth teams. So of course the men's team has the under 23s and then the senior team, whereas we have just got the under 21s and then the first team. And then you look at things like that and you think it is a little bit difficult there for it could be a 16-year-old coming into the first team. It's extremely difficult for a player. It's hard for an under 23 to come into the first team. Never mind a 16-year-old coming into the first team. And I think perhaps maybe there needs to be something there in place. If they don't want to put on under 23s in, absolutely fine. I understand that, because we're still only developing our women's team and our women's academy team. But I think it'd be good to try and do some kind of a development scheme for people who look like they are going to be ready for the first team, and maybe perhaps do these different kind of training modules on a weekly or maybe fortnightly basis, and do it as over a 6-week kind of course kind of thing. And if it works, try them out then in a cup game for the Manchester United's first team. But if not, just put them back there into the under 21s and then just give them some more support, ready for when they look ready again. So I think a development scheme could work quite well.
No, completely. I mean, Mark here again. Thanks for watching tonight. Any thoughts on having an under 23 league to put another step in place before going to the first team? Well, obviously you've covered that before you even saw the comment. Really, I think bigger clubs like United and even some of the smaller ones. There's lots of local colleges. There's lots of obviously United's got I forgot what it's called, UA92, isn't it? The sports university run by Gary Neville, who, and others who are linked to the squad. You could easily link it with some sort of apprenticeship or scholarship element to it as well. Because I like, obviously develop them as people as well as obviously as players. I think for me, I look at it more practically as well. I agree with everything both you and Atano have said. I think instead of putting Fuso on at 89 minutes and 59 seconds, which Skinner might have known to have done, because she's a great attacking threat. As a side point, I think she is a good off the suspension, could be a good refresher in the 70th minute, not the 89th minute. If you had one dev on the bench, you put them on for 5 minutes. That's massive, isn't it, for their development? And even if it goes wrong, which, as I say, it wouldn't do, what damage can you do in 5 minutes? And I think if we had a kind of a bit of a trying to do that, maybe not against Chelsea, but we got left, but against your Readings, against your Leicester, that's just gone. I think it's exposure, isn't it? And I think even Mark, in his unique way, the way he talks, gives me a run for the money with analogies and long-winding statements, doesn't he? He says, about it being a wonderful experience, and I think it is, isn't it? And I mean, obviously, we're going to touch on Old Trafford when we get closer, Maisie, but do you think that the fact that girls have been there, they've played on the pitch, albeit without fans, it's kind of the same analogy, isn't it? If you've been in the matchday squad, you've been on the matchday bus, it makes it less scary, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does make it less scary, but I actually think, though, coming into Old Trafford in itself, I think it would be scary, because you've seen the memories at Old Trafford. It's known as the Theatre of Dreams. There's been so many good memories from Manchester United, so many youths starting at the Theatre of Dreams, and the women have only actually played once at Old Trafford, and that was behind closed doors. And sometimes I'm not saying this is the case for all teams, but sometimes behind closed doors can sometimes benefit clubs to think there isn't no crowd noise. So if, for example, we go away, we watch an away game, and our voices are a lot more louder than the home teams, people probably say, in that kind of respect, it's better behind closed doors in that kind of respect for the home team in particular. But in terms of course, coming into Old Trafford with crowds, it sets the expectations a lot higher to think the history here, the club, the stadium itself, the fans. So I think it raises a lot more expectations just knowing that the venue it is. But it makes it a lot more magical when there is that goal, when there is an assist, when we get the 3 points. It's not an if, it's when we get the 3 points.
Yeah, you'll pick up some other elements of what Maisie's been saying, Atanu.
Can you repeat, please?
Yeah, no, I'm saying you were going to pick up some other elements of what Maisie was saying there.
Yeah, Maisie talked about training modules for the devs players. I'm going to bring up something that happened with the men's academy in November 2021 after Ragnick came in.
That'd be Maisie's one then. So go on, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so I'm not contradicting to it, I'm just adding to it. That in November 2021, Justin Cochrane, who's I think he's involved with the academy, men's academy. So what he did was that instead of sending players out on proper loans, he sent them on a 1 week sort of training. So I'll just bring it up. He sent them on. Basically send them on a one week trip to different championship clubs. So what the players did there was it was about the academy players. So the academy players trained with the team, they stayed with the team, they went with the team to the match day squad. They went into the dressing room, they did their warm-ups, they did not play for the team, but they did their warm-ups before the match and after the match. So that really gives you some proper experience of senior team. So I would love to see something similar with United. I know there aren't many clubs in the championship, but you could do it in the third tier or the fourth tier, as long as it is the first senior team that you're sending them to. So it was a very nice idea. I would love to see it being inculcated into the women's academy as well. If not now, then in the near future, because I think instead of proper loans, this is a very good venture that you're sending them out on 1 week, 2 week short loans. They are not getting, they're not getting to play, but they are getting the match day experience. That's really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting point, isn't it? I mean, unfortunately, it wouldn't be as glamorous as France. You know, you'd be looking at places like Sheffield and stuff like that. But no, it's definitely true. We'll briefly look at it then, because I see again we've got some great activity in the comments. Got people asking me about formations. You know, this Ravi here saying, "Who's my best midfield when fit?" The one that wins. No, I will give a proper answer. To be honest, I'm a little bit focused on the result these days. Yeah, I mean, I think Hayley Ladd is a key. Nat said it on other shows. We've all said it. She's become a linchpin really to build the rest of the midfield around that physicality, and she sort of, I think, makes them feel a bit solid having her there. I am going to include Katie Zelem because she will always be in our midfield until she retires. So that would, I would say, would be the second option, because she does do this thing with corners. Maybe she does provide confidence to other players. That she's there, and I think that's kind of important as well. And yeah, I mean, I think. Who else would you add to that to build on? What would your other two be if you're doing 4-4-2, Maisie?
If we was doing a 4-4-2, sorry.
Yeah. You've got Zelem, you've got Ladd.
If I was going to do it as a 4-4-2, that would be an interesting one, because what I will probably do, I will probably put back Leah Golden maybe in the midfield and Hansen in the midfield as well, just because it's a 4-4-2. But if we played in that 4-2-3-1, which, of course, Matt Skinner has used quite a lot this season, and it was Hayley Ladd and Katie Zelem in that pivot. I think it would be Ella Toon there who will be playing in the number 10 role, Leah Golden on the left, and on the right, that is an interesting one because that's been changed quite a lot. Martha Thomas has played, Russo has played. I'm sure we've seen Borisa there as well. So if I was going to pick, I would like to see Borisa there a little in that starting 11 a little bit more, just because she provides that kind of midfield quality. What I'm not obviously discrediting all the other midfielders at United, but she has a bit different kind of creativity, which sometimes that we really do need in the Manchester United team. But all our midfielders have different kind of qualities as to why they should really play. And I'd probably say as well that if, for example, that Stanny was fully fit, that would be an even harder decision, because even Stanny, for me, she's brilliant starting as well as her coming off the bench. So she is a player what would be good to have in the Manchester United team too.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to add my extra two to it, I mean, I would have gone with Borisa as well. And I do have a soft spot for Leah. I don't really know what's changed as much. I'd like to get her back. I think naturally she's people just said a proper winger, being right on the line kind of winger. But I think if we can try and unlock Leah again, she would get an option. But obviously, you've also got Jackie there as well. So you could say, you could say Zelem, you could say Borisa. And then Jackie, if you were looking at a 4-3-3, which is the most popular formation, isn't it, in the women's game? I say this in case Mark realizes, because I like it because it has 3 attackers, which is my favorite part of the pitch. And then for 6 months, it seems like attacking was a word that wasn't really in Skinner's vocabulary. But obviously, we are coming more towards the end now. But just before we get to the score predictions, I mean, I always like to think, obviously it was International Women's Day on Tuesday. I think one of the special things about our players is that you do get to see them more as people. So I just thought it'd be a cool question to say, if any. I think for me, there's a couple clearly, but I'll start with you, Maisie. Obviously, which players in the current squad inspire you?
That's a very, very good question, honestly. If you was looking at that team who do truly inspire, I will probably maybe have to go with Diane. The reason why I would have to go with Diane, our team in itself is quite a young team, and so for me, an experienced player who has played in these multiple leagues, who has played at top class levels, who display leadership roles, who as a captain there for international, it is truly inspiring, and knowing that in itself that she's a Manchester United fan, it speaks levels as well. She's at the club that she loves, and I think when you do have that kind of player with the amount of history, just as TJ has touched on there.
Like you're in sync there. TJ says with a history and child is an excellent selection. So yeah, continue.
Yeah, when you do have a player who has had this history of these different clubs internationally, it is truly, truly inspiring to see, because the players that we do haven't got the experience, hasn't got that history like Diane does, and having her in the team is inspiring and also an asset. And to Ravi's question, because he asked if Diane is a leader, she is definitely a leader. She's extremely experienced, and this is what we do need in the back four, and I think she would be quite vocal if it's needed to be vocal.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's great to see it, as a fan, to see someone like that. And, she's fought, and unfortunately, the majority of her career was at times where maybe she wouldn't have got much money at all, and maybe not even professional until more later on, though she's been abroad, so she would have had some salaries. Obviously, I turn to you, Atanu, as well. I mean, I'm one of those bigger advocates that says, obviously men can have female role models and female inspirations as well. Are there any that inspire you?
Yeah, there are quite a few. I'll list down 2 or 3. First one is Aoife Mannion.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. Just because I think Aoife Mannion had an ACL injury a few seasons back while she was at Manchester City. So I've had the same issues with my life. So seeing her recovery, she posted, like, I came to know it much later in life, like when she signed. She posted there's this thing called Instagram highlights. So
I think I say this thing called Instagram. We do get it in the UK, but carry. No, go on.
No, I said that because I know that Andy doesn't use Instagram a lot. I think so.
Sorry, I'm sorry, Mannion.
Yeah. So there she posted a lot of stories about her recovery and how she used to, she battled it out every day. So there were around 50 stories over there, and she made a long post on Instagram as well. So after reading that, I was like, yes, I mean, if she can come back to a club like Manchester United after going through all of that, I think everybody's facing some problems, but they aren't, this is not the end. Basically, this is not the end. There's a bright future. And then the second one will be Kirsty Hansen. I'm sorry if you're listening to the Kirsty Hansen name from me a lot, but I am a big Kirsty Hansen fan.
Sorry, we're waiting for the announcement of you as their agent. The show. No, carry on. We agree. She's a great player.
This shouldn't be said in public, but yes. But yes, I think we've seen that Kirsty Hansen is considered quite introverted, because she's also said that she's very quiet. She was very quiet when she initially joined, but over a period of time, she's become one of the star players. So, Vicky, you know. But yeah, I think adapting to different situations in life and learning from it, adapting to different adapting to different environments. That's what I've learned from Kirsty Hansen. And the last one would be Jackie Cronin.
Okay.
Because I've seen Karen is in the comments. So if someone does not know who's in the comments, Karen posts amazing match contents. So in that, I've often seen
she's
Jackie.
She's client, Atanu.
Yes, I'm taking a lot of commission.
No, I agree. Give her a follow. She's great content.
Yeah. So in that, there are all players are down to earth. All players are amazing, but what really strikes me a lot is that Jackie Gronin, who's won so many things in her life, who's been so amazing. Um, she's so down to earth. I mean, there were times when it was raining. There were times when
Manchester, you have to be more specific, to be
yeah.
honest. But carry on.
Yeah, there were times when the players were rushing into the into the ground, but still she looked back. She came to Karen. She waved her. So that's what I want, because at the end of the day, Jackie Croonan is also a fan, and I'm not saying that the other players don't do it. I'm just singling out one player. They all do it, but that's what I really like.
Yeah.
Being humble, even when you're at the top of, even when you're at the top of your profession. Be humble, stay grounded. That's what I've learned from. Like, there are a lot of other players who've inspired me, but these three players stand out for me.
Yeah, no, as I say, don't worry. I don't think anyone's going to come and get you. It was just an idea, just to really give extra elements, to the team, And I think for me, the first one is Leah Golden. She is one of those players. When you find about her story, she was out of football before Casey found her for United, and I think and I think to see someone who maybe was thinking, well, maybe it's done, to actually get over sort of the issue, the anxiety elements that she had, and just trusting herself and trusting other people. When someone says to you, I think you can do this, which is obviously what Casey said to get her on, and you see her fly. And obviously she's going through a bit of a tough time at the moment in relation to form. But I hope to see her smash it again, because I think, she is quite an inspirational figure in relation to the way, as I say, she keeps on going and just carries on trying to be the best she can. The second one, I think, would be Mary Earps. And that's mainly because I am someone who suffers from anxiety. I've got better than I used to. I'm doing this, for example. And I remember having a picture taken with her pre-COVID after sort of talking about it, and someone literally went and pushed me forward, so I had to do it. And it was great, and I would have loved to have said that I had this great chat, but in reality, I just sort of went picture. I just lost the ability to speak. And after the picture, I just messaged on Twitter and just said, I'm really glad I got over my nerves that I could get a picture with you. And I wouldn't have expected even a like or to have seen it. Not only did she like it, but she gave me a personalized tweet back and said, I'm really glad you got over it too. So not only has she read it, she's considered to put a tweet back, and it is that connection that with her and other players that does help. And I think it's important to remember that they can inspire adults as much as kids, and and that is what is quite special about being being followers on the women's team, man or woman. I think it, they are inspiring characters, and it's great to go on the journey with them. And I sound like Skinner, don't I? And as Vic's pointed out there, Mary is very kind and funny. Check her TikTok, guys, if you haven't already. Yeah, I don't know how they fall about laughing with that, because it's really good fun. But yeah, as I say, just a bit of background on some of our players. We'll probably pick up more of that anyway as we go towards Old Trafford. So just we've gone over tonight because we've just been having so much fun, and obviously thanks guys for sticking with us and joining in. Hopefully you've enjoyed it as much as we have. So just to finish on then, Mais and Atanu, score predictions for tomorrow, when I've been up since 6 a.m. So score predictions, Maisie.
I'm going to go for a 3-1. I'm sure I went for 3-1 on my channel. So I'm going to go for 3-1. I think we are going to get a few goals, but I do think that
you're giving Mary, you're getting rid of that Clino for her. She wants another Clino. Why are you taking it away from Mary?
She deserves a Clino. She deserves it. But I just feel like with how Reading are, I feel like because they are physical, they can be, I don't want to say the word dirty, but I think they'll try. Yeah. I think they'll try and gain a couple of free kicks, what won't preferably be in our favour. So I think that they will potentially get one in the second half, but it won't affect us too much to win the game, because we'll still win 3-1.
Atanu?
I'll go with 3-1 as well. Just because if tomorrow it comes to bite me in the back, I won't be the only one who people think. So it will be Maisie and me together. But yeah, I do agree
He's
that.
learning.
Yeah, but I think yes, Reading do pose a threat. We can't take them lightly. Uh, but at the end of the day, it's Manchester United. Even when we have an injury crisis, we are the best in the team. We are the best team in the world. So I think we'll be able to score 3 goals easily.
Yeah, I think Emma is very knowledgeable on women's football, actually. It says 4-2, guys. It's going to be a feisty one. Feisty, that's the word I would look for. Feisty. It's much better than physical, isn't it? Should have picked with that. But yeah, 4-2. That's gonna stress me out. If it's 4-0 and then they get 2 back, it'll annoy me. But I don't want to be 2-0. Otherwise, you might be hearing me from India. In India, if it became 2-0, then a 4-2 win. I personally would go 3-0 because I'm going on Team Mary. No, I'd like to keep the clean sheets going if we can. I think it's great for Mary going into obviously West Ham, then obviously in midweek, and then the gap then to Old Trafford. But hopefully 3-0. With everyone coming out with their fingers and toes attached, which is always good. But obviously, that's great. So thanks everyone for watching and listening in the comments. Maisie and Atanu being on the panel. I think you already know Maisie because you're brilliant. But where would you find you if you want to get more Maisie?
You can find me there on my YouTube channel, which is Devils United. I do content on the women's football as well as the men's. So Andy comes on here quite regularly with me to do previews.
Very lucky. Very lucky.
Always fun. And it's been a pleasure having me on. So thank you so much for asking me back on the show. I absolutely loved tonight's show. It was great. And it was great to do another show with Atanu. At least I didn't have to sing this time.
But you're partner in crime, Maisie. You know you're on here quite as a regular. So, Atanu, where does Kirsty and Karen send their commission checks to?
Yeah, they can send it to my DMs at the rate of @Atanu_7info. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm quite active there, and I've taken a break from YouTube from my own channel these days. So I'm focusing more on writing. So you can find my writings in my Twitter account in my bio. So do check that out and do one thing: subscribe to Maisie's channel and subscribe to Only One
United. Only One United.
Only One United. I'm so sorry, Vicky. Yeah, I take PayPal, and I'm sorry. Don't find me for not saying the word correctly. But yeah, follow this channel as well. Subscribe to them.
Brilliant. Yeah, and me, everyone knows with my eclectic views on life, the universe, and everything can be found at AJO_87, which is my personal Twitter account. So be nice. But no, it's good. Obviously, again, thanks for everyone in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are going to do more content on there. Have a look on Twitter. We'll do another poll again next week before next week's show. So you are as important to us as I say, the panelists. And we'll see everybody soon.